Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. We have with us today Adlin Abdul Majid, a partner from our IP and TMT practice group. Adlin, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Alina. It's nice to be here today.
Great to have you on. We want to start off by just asking straight off the bat, how has intellectual property evolved over the years?
IP and IP laws actually have developed very rapidly in the past few years, maybe 10, 20 years or so, because of developments in technology. As you know, 20, 30 years ago, the bigger companies in the world would be companies that are very capital intensive or physically have a lot of physical assets. But now, if you see the list of the biggest companies in the world, they're all digital or tech companies. Many of them are digital or tech companies, and their assets are intellectual assets. And because of that, intellectual property laws are required to protect these intellectual assets.
Right. Has this resulted in a change of players entering into the local economy?
Yes, certainly, because similar with the developments in the global sphere, it's the same as well in Malaysia. You can see during the MCO where many companies started using e-commerce as a platform to sell their products and services, because there was very little access, physical access to products and services, and companies were making use of online services and online platforms to put their products out there in the market.
Right.
And also data now, as you've heard, is now the driver of many businesses and economies around the world. So data is also an intellectual asset and should be protected by intellectual property laws. As far as Malaysia is concerned, I'm sure you're aware there have been developments for content companies in Malaysia as well, with many content creators out there creating content that is almost at par or even at par with our Hollywood content providers. I've had the privilege of working with this company called Wow Animation, and they produced Agent Ali, the movie last year, and it's the highest grossing animation film last year in Malaysia. And you should watch it if you haven't watched it, because it is the animation quality is very good, content is very good, and really the storyline kept me at the edge of my seat. It's actually that exciting. And these come from Malaysia, so in that sense our Malaysian content creators are at par with international content creators.
So it's exciting times on the technology forefront in Malaysia, would you say?
Yes, definitely.
Speaking of technology, you also practice technology, media and telecommunications. With technology advancing so rapidly, we see new concepts like blockchain and IoT and AI, which continue to develop and change by the second. What are the main challenges in specializing in an area that is so modern?
Okay, I think there are three challenges that I can highlight to you. First of all, as you've pointed out, technology has developed at such a pace that it's almost impossible to catch up. And as a lawyer, we need to be able to catch up, because to understand our client's business and to understand what they are doing is necessary to allow us to advise them efficiently, properly.
Right.
So that's the first challenge, that to understand and embrace technology and to use technology in our day-to-day lives, because if we don't do that, we're not able to advise our clients.
So you have to get into the nitty-gritty of the technology itself.
Yes, I have various apps in my phone because my clients are
developers
who produce those apps.
Because
before I can advise them, I need to understand how the app works. Right? So that's, I think, one of the main issue, to understand technology and to keep up with technology. The other issue is that it's just become such a diverse area. When I first started or dabbled into this area, my main clients were tech companies, and the main work that we did was software development and hardware development agreements. And even then, we found those agreements to be complicated because they were very technical. They are very technical. Now,
everything under the sun.
Exactly, it's everything under the sun, and any type of technology is part of our practice. And you have providers in all areas going into technology, digitizing their business. So you need to understand not only technology laws, but laws that facilitate their business, like the financial services business, the healthcare services business,
Right.
and even pawnbrokers are actually even going online these days. So we have to understand that business and learn how to incorporate the technological or legal aspects that into that business. So that can be a challenge, because you need to understand all sorts of businesses,
Both the technology and your client's
Correct,
nature of business.
And finally, the third challenge, and I've always thought of this, is that I think, unlike my colleagues in litigation and in corporate, right, who will age like fine wine and whose clients will keep coming to them the older they are, and the more senior they are in practice, I wonder whether that applies to technology lawyers.
Right.
Because I cannot imagine being a 65-year-old lawyer and having a 25-year-old CEO coming
of a
to
tech
me,
startup.
of a tech startup coming up to me and asking for advice, because
Yeah.
they will probably be looking at younger people who are perceived to be more open to embracing technology.
Yeah.
So that's I think another challenge that we
Yeah.
have as tech lawyers.
That's, I think, quite a unique feature to the TMT practice
Correct.
area.
Yes. And it's such a new area, so we don't really have older tech lawyers at this point in time.
So you are like one of the first generation of...
Yes, I would consider myself as one of the first generation of tech lawyers.
Speaking of, the rapid advancements of technology, do you think that the current legal framework in Malaysia would be sufficient to cater to this advancements, both in protecting consumers and also businesses?
The law can never keep up with technology, and no matter how you draft the laws, it can never be able to keep up with the advancement that technology poses.
Right.
So our e-commerce act, for example, is drafted in a very technologically neutral manner. There is no mention of technology in there, and yet we can't keep up. Under the Consumer Protection Act, there are regulations on e-commerce.
Right.
And in those regulations, because I think it was drafted in the late 1990s, and it imposes requirements for anyone who sells online. But when you look at the term of the regulations, it refers to websites. And now, I don't think people use websites to sell.
I don't use
products.
websites
Exactly.
anymore,
Everyone uses apps, right? So the question is, would that apply?
Can it cover
would the
apps
term
as well?
website cover apps as well? So those are the kind of challenges when we are trying to implement cyber laws or technology related laws that were passed in the 1990s or early 2000 to today's and apply it to today's use of technology. And I've spoken to regulators and authorities as well. They remarked once to me that the term search and seizure may not even be applicable anymore, because you don't seize data, right? You download data when you when you want to for purposes of search and seizure under those laws. So question is whether that term even applies, and that is in all our laws, and the term is used in all enforcement provisions in different laws.
Do you think that the regulators do intend to sort of address this as we reach, this year being 2020 with Wawasan 2020? Do you think that we are moving towards a direction to where all our laws would be updated to cater to the advancements?
We are one of the first countries in Southeast Asia, in fact, that have comprehensive cyber laws. I was lucky enough to be involved in the development when I was with the Multimedia Super Corridor, and those laws were in place even before many countries around the region had umbrella laws on to cater to technology. So in that sense, as I mentioned, it's also these laws are also technologically neutral, would be able to cater for developments in this area and even developments in the future. But you can never find laws that are enough to
or what
address,
or specific enough to
exactly. So oftentimes when we provide advice to client, we have to piggyback on certain requirements in the law that may not necessarily
be
directly
specific
related to that specific technology area
Yeah.
that they want addressed.
Mm.
But that's the challenge, I suppose, when it
Yeah.
comes to technology related laws.
Right.
Yeah.
Lastly, being in practice for as long as you have, do you feel that the corporate sector is still very much a boys' club?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we were in a meeting this morning,
Yeah.
management meeting, and I think probably out of the 20 people in the room, there were three women.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's common. That's
Yeah.
common. I think it's also mainly because women have some challenges when it comes to will face some challenges, especially when they want to get married, have children, and trying to balance work with life,
Yeah.
with their day-to-day lives. And I've lost many associates, many able associates, because they feel that they cannot balance being in legal practice with raising a family or a young family. But you can see some kind of a silver lining with COVID. COVID is horrible, but there is a silver lining because people seem to recognize that we can all work from home now.
Yeah,
and
it's
we
possible.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we can embrace technology to allow day-to-day work. Everyday meetings can be done online. Work can be submitted online. So it's really not a big deal. Working physically at the office is not something that is a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
So hopefully what that means for women, especially those with family, is that they can make use of technology and to allow themselves a more balanced life. Not just for women, actually, for men and women.
Yeah.
Parents
especially,
of young children.
Yeah. I think also some people find working from home more productive because you spend less time in traffic.
Correct.
You move from the bed to the laptop in 2 seconds and you're like already, at it.
Yeah, but the cautionary note to that is that there's a blurring of the line between work and play when you're at home.
Yeah.
And it certainly feels that way with our team as well,
Yeah,
because I used to not call you guys until 9-10 o'clock, but now our calls with each other will start as early as 7 or 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Right?
Adlin, thank you so much for sharing with us
Thanks,
and giving
Elena.
us a bit of an insight to IP and TMT, which is pretty much, I think, TMT especially is quite a young practice area, not as developed as the others. So it's quite interesting to sort of hear about the ins and outs of the practice area. So thank you, Adlin.
Thanks, Elena. Thank you.
So now moving on to the fun part of the show, we are going to do rapid fire session.
Okay.
So as many questions as you can within 30 seconds. The record to beat was Encik Megat, which was 11 questions. So are you ready?
Of course, I'm competitive, so I'm all out to beat Megat.
Okay, all right. Say good day in an Australian accent.
Today.
Do you know how to salsa dance?
No.
Skydiving or bungee jumping?
Skydiving.
One guilty pleasure?
Ice cream.
Guns N' Roses or One Direction?
Guns N' Roses.
Do you play any instrument?
Trying to. Guitar.
Are tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable?
Fruit.
Full marathon or triathlon?
Full.
Nickname you would choose for yourself?
Specky.
Dine in or delivery?
Dine in.
What's worse, laundry or doing the dishes?
Laundry.
Last movie you watched?
Oh God.
Oh, Adlin, we are out of time, so I'll let you answer that.
I can't remember the last movie.
That's
I
probably
watched.
I think 6 months ago. Should be your last movie.
Oh, must be Agent Ali lah.
Oh,
yes, the movie that I mentioned just now.
Okay.
I went for the preview. Oh, that's so sad.
That must be earlier this
November
year.
last year.
Oh,
yeah.
last year.
So.
Okay. So you managed to answer 13 questions.
Yes.
So you are leading. So well done.
Thank you.
You are number one. We'll get you a medal.
Thank you.
Okay, Adlin, we would like to thank you again for coming on board today and speaking to us about your practice area.
Okay. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. This is our last episode of Season 1. Hope you enjoyed all 8 episodes of On Air with LHAG. We will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.